Today's big issue, will there ever be or should there ever be a Justice League film? Okay, so we are fresh off the back of seeing the Superman film.
Yes,
I mean, I think they announced a Justice League film for
2015, the same year as the new Star Wars and the next Avengers film.
Apparently it's being written at the moment.
By David S. Goyer, who wrote Man of Steel, and it's predicted that Zack Snyder will direct it as well, with Christopher Nolan producing again. So the same Man of Steel team.
Okay, so I guess this is sort of twofold, like... First of all, do you think they'll get it out by then? Should they get it out by then? Should there be one at all? And what sort of state are they in at the moment to actually build one off?
And if you could cast a Justice League film, who'd be in it? Okay, so...
Hayden Christensen. Call back.
Call back. Go back to my reaction. Okay, so, I mean, will there ever be a Justice League film? I think it would be very stupid to say no. We got an Avengers film and everyone said that wasn't going to happen. I think it's pretty easy to say we will one day get a Justice League film. Now, will it get out by 2015? I think that was a stupid thing for them to say. You know, the Avengers film was a carefully laid out plan that spanned over 6 films over the space of about 5 years. That's an incredible feat. This, they're expecting in the space of 3 years, with only one film planned, being Man of Steel, to have a Justice League film by 2015, with no groundwork made in Man of Steel for a Justice League film. I think that's stupid. To me, it feels like, you know, the Avengers, Marvel, were in a committed relationship, and they decided to have an Avengers baby. Feels like DC and Warner Brothers have kind of had a fumble and a one-night stand, and they've ended up with a Justice League baby. That's how it's gonna feel if they just go and do it like that. So do I think? And I wouldn't even care if DC went, you know what? Maybe we just kind of reacted to the Avengers 2 announcement and the Star Wars stuff. Maybe we just kind of went, we're gonna do a Justice League film. If they came out and said that and went, so you know what? We're gonna make it 2020. Am I going to be gutted? Yeah, but in the long term, is it going to be a better idea? Definitely.
Asking yourself questions.
I love asking myself these questions. I do it all day.
What would I have for breakfast?
Should I have bacon and eggs, or should I just have cereal? Are you feeling hungry? I'm going to stop now. Yeah. So what are your answers to some of these questions?
Do I think there's going to be a Justice League film in 2015? No, I don't. Do I think that there is some major problems that DC have found themselves with in relation to a Justice League film? Well, yes, I do.
You know what? It literally took till then for me to catch on what he was doing.
I think the issue that they have is, first of all, you would think that all this time that's gone into the Batman films that they would have laid some groundwork, but no, not really, because those Chris Nolan films are sort of their own beast. They don't seem to...
Christopher Nolan's Batman should have nothing to do with Justice League film, and that's not a kind of... Well, you need to keep that separate. It's just, from what they did with Man of Steel and Green Lantern, if they decide to keep him in, it's a very different tone, and they need to keep that open.
Well, that's the other problem, is that the thing they did with Green Lantern, that should have been a stepping stone, but it was really just a step back. Like, that was so...
It was back to 2003.
Yeah, it was so awful that... Now they just have this Green Lantern film, and they have a choice. Do they say, well, okay, we'll have Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern in the Justice League film, which, it just makes you sick to think about it, doesn't it? But then do we ignore it entirely? Do we just ignore that it happened? We were talking about this, and you came up with a good thing, which was, don't ignore it. It happened. But why don't we just not have Hal Jordan in the Justice League and we'll have Jon Stewart instead?
Idris Elba for Jon Stewart, 2015.
Not 2015.
2020.
So yeah, really the only thing they have is Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact that I dislike that film, it's...
Loved it.
God, the idea of Henry Cavill interacting with other people in like an Avengers...
Screw you.
In like an Avengers type of deal.
He was good. Leave him alone.
So but it's so, I don't know, he's so powerful in that, and I know Superman is powerful. And here's the other thing that I was saying is that the Justice League seems to work really well in animated form because you can big up other characters, like you can make Cyborg super powerful, and you can make Batman do all the flips and keep up with them all and all that kind of thing, explosions and whatever. But having this super-powered alien next to a guy in a batsuit in the cinematic sense, I think just feels odd to me. And maybe it's just because we've never seen that before, ever. But
yeah, I mean, what I'd say to that is, if you take the Christopher Nolan Batman, then yeah, definitely, or any of the other incarnations of Batman, because so far, because of the limitations of the suit on screen, it's been very punch, pow, and if you're throwing that up against Superman, who was doing all this crazy stuff in Man of Steel, yeah, it's stupid. But if you make it a more flexible ninja Batman, like someone who's actually a ninja, then yeah, it'll work fine, I think. I think you can do some very interesting stuff. And storyline purposes, I mean, you take the most powerful guy out in the first half an hour of the film, and then it's up to the rest of the ragtag team to help out.
yeah, that's a good idea. They sort of did something similar in Young Justice, but in the first season, they had this problem, which was like, okay, why are these young people getting involved in all this crazy, like, where's the Justice League?
Yeah.
Like, Superman can stop this with a flick of his finger. So they sort of take them off and they're on trial somewhere. So it's left to Dick Grayson and everything. So, yeah, that is a plot device, makes sense. But I just feel like DC are just nowhere. They've just got no groundwork. Like with Marvel, as you say, like, we laid all this stuff and they...
Beautiful 6-year plan. They went out, they bought the cot. They got the bottle, they got
painted
everything. The room, all lovely and different coloured.
Yeah.
DC, it just got thrown on the doorstep one day and they were like,
So...
I don't know, I guess we can put them in the microwave for a while until we get a cot. I don't know.
The thing
Don't
is,
put
though,
babies in the microwave.
For me, Iron Man, the first Iron Man was like, it was so ballsy because they earn those moments in the end. Like, they have the whole origin story. Most of that film is an origin story.
Yeah.
So that, like, Iron Man is earned. We feel very happy with that.
Well, and also, at the end of Iron Man, we get this wonderful, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative, and it makes you squeal.
Right.
Man of Steel, you get a Wayne Enterprises logo hidden in the background, which admittedly made me squeal, but not in the same way. It's not me going, oh, the Justice League is happening.
Yeah.
It makes me go, they're acknowledging Batman.
So the problem is, what I was going to say is, so when you get to Avengers, you don't need... These characters are crazy, but they've already been earned.
Yeah.
They've already earned their place there one by one. And not only that, before they even get into crazy action, an hour and a half, they earn the team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They were so concerned with, maybe those films aren't as, complex as The Dark Knight or something like that, but they were very nuts and bolts, ticking all the right boxes that they needed to tick. There's no
Marvel
way...
played it safe. Marvel were just
No,
we're just going to make good superhero films. DC have kind of tried to go, Dark Knight, we're going to make it dark and gritty. Worked. Green Lantern, we're going to make a really fun film. Really didn't work. Like, there's no kind of uniform style. It's...
So you can't have... There's no way you could have a Justice League film, a good Justice League film, where you have Superman after the film that we got, and then a Green Lantern, and then a Flash, which we've never even seen before. Because
it's been written,
his origin, and...
Wonder
Woman, we've just not had anything from. You can't just put these people in a film and expect people to say, yeah, that's cool, that's okay.
Now, here's my question to you. When they announced, because DC have announced who the team's going to be. They announced the villain, Darkseid. It's fair enough. Standard Justice League villain. They announced the team. Your standard 5-piece, take out Aquaman, and they've put in Cyborg. How do you feel about that?
I mean, everyone knows what that is, right?
We all know.
Everyone knows why they've done that, and that's fine.
Idris Elba 2020, then we don't need to.
As a character, I think Cyborg is dull. I never like Cyborg,
No, I
so You know, and I do quite like Aquaman, so that's, you know.
That's great. Aquaman needs his chance to
But
prove
there are
himself.
bigger problems than that. There are much
that's
bigger
true.
problems than that. It's just not going to work without their own films and without their own good films. And I guess they're just looking. I mean, Marvel had a few missteps. Hulk was a misstep,
Yep.
but they had enough hits that they could make the Avengers film. For me, DC have had, excluding Batman, have had no hits. So
Well, I thought Man of Steel was a hit, but going into the new universe, I think that's the only film in there for me. Like, that would be, because you can't throw Green Lantern in, you can't throw The Dark Knight in there. You know, they need to reboot that. They need to find another Bruce Wayne.
But then
It's gonna be a
again,
struggle.
if they keep making films, say they made a Flash film and it was as bad as Green Lantern, then they're just like, fuck, we just can't catch a break here, because at the end of the day, they're employing people. I mean, Zack Snyder has got a good reputation.
Zack Snyder would have a great visual style for a Flash film. Like, his whole
just-
slow it down and speed it up thing would work brilliantly for the Flash.
Yeah.
Like, it would work really well. And if you get a charismatic actor on board, like I've always said, a guy like Bradley Cooper would be a great Flash. I think if you pull someone on like that, get some big hitters in there. Like, you don't have many big hitters in the Avengers. You had Robert Downey Jr., who was made famous by the Avengers, and you had Scarlett Johansson, Samuel L. Jackson. Those are your three biggest names, I would say, in there. You know, if DC was to get some big guys on board,
So what I was gonna say is, like, if they just decide, okay, we want to do it like Marvel and we want to do the origins, and then we're gonna go into the film, and then just keep making bad films, then they're just
can't
not
do
gonna
it.
get anywhere. So is the answer to just go for a Justice League film, go for broke, and then hopefully, if that's
Comes out.
successful, then they can do the spin-offs from there.
yeah, I mean, if they do it that way, then they need to do a kind of a reverse Avengers initiative. So the starting block needs to be the Justice League, and then we have
Yeah.
our origin
Yeah,
stories.
you can't make a Justice League movie and be doing origins.
No.
You just can't. You do a New 52 style thing where
Which was great. That first arc in the New 52, where we were getting introduced to everyone, really worked. The only problem is, it works for people like us, and it works for viewers of the show. It doesn't work for the average person, because, sorry to say this, yes, the average person's heard of The Flash, but the average person doesn't know about The Flash. They don't know about... I mean, I'd be hard pushed to say most people know about Cyborg. Like, who is he? So they'd have troubles there, but I think that'd probably be the best way if they're still like, no, we're going for 2015.
Okay, this is an interesting one. As always, let us know what you think in the comments down below or on Twitter at comicbookshow1.
And that'll do us for this week, so we will see you next week. I don't know, I guess we can put them in the microwave for a while until we get a car, I don't know.